Hello. Looks like it's booting up. Says it's live, but it's spinning over here. No, you're now live. Hi, AO community. Hi, everybody. Greg D'Amico here. How's everything going? Hope you've had a good month and you are pushing onward and upward to make things happen in your world and push your businesses forward. So, let's see here. I've got some exciting things happening in my world, so I hope you guys do, and maybe I'll elaborate a little bit on that as we go. But first off, let's just jump into the questions and get some sharing happening here. Well, actually, what I normally do is a little bit of background for anybody that's new, and I'll be real brief on that. So, Greg D'Amico, I've got a company called Efficience. It's a software company. We do mobile app and e-commerce development, along with a lot of data integration, some SaaS work, software as a service work. And I've had that company since 2004. I went to India in 2004 and I set up my office over there. I set up an office and hired a small team at the time and grew that out from like 6 people up to like 55, and now it's just I got about 33 people over there right now. So before that, I was in investments. I started a mutual fund in the 90s and ran that up to really good heights there in 2000, and then the market crashed and ended up selling off that company and seeing the future being software. That's when I got into the software company. I've done some other things along the way and may talk a little bit about that as we go too, given some of the questions. But let's get going with the questions. So, Ricardo Delegado asked the question: as a business owner, what can I do to get more involved in the local community? Business description and background question: I have a barbershop and I'm interested in getting involved in the community. Where do I start and how can I make it beneficial to both parties? So, Ricardo, I wrote down on here, scribbled some notes, and I was like, well, BNI. It's business, what's it called? Business Networking International, I think is the acronym. And I was in a BNI group for a few years. It is about bringing people together for a lunch or a breakfast, and you're there for an hour and you have lunch, and then each person stands up for 30 to 60 seconds and talks about their business and what they're needing currently. And so it's a good way to get connected with a community of people. You probably have some in your area. I would check on that and so forth. I also put down Chamber of Commerce on here. It is a good area that I used to do a long time ago when I was doing the financial services work, and I ended up they would have like a monthly get together or happy hour type thing where you go and you would meet other people. So uh, so I would like getting involved in some of those. So your next question that I'll jump into, you talk about being in part of the Chamber of Commerce. You can also so you have joined that, which is really good. So AO is also, I mean, you got a community here of people. I'd reach out to the network and say, hey, what's up with, I'm looking at these options. What have you guys done? And see what kind of feedback you get, because every community is different. Like one area may be in say Knoxville, it may be better to be in a BNI than the Chamber of Commerce. In your area, wherever you are, it could be better to be in the Chamber of Commerce than a BNI, or to be in both. So it's just a matter of what you got to get a feel for that in your area, and then make your choices from there. So I'll jump into the next question and I'll expand on this one a little bit more. So Ricardo Delgado asked, um, when business networking is an in-person setting, what do you do to meet people and break the ice? What is the best protocol? Business description and background question: I've joined my local chamber of commerce. My question is, how do I maximize the benefits of joining? If anyone has experience with this, how do I approach this? Do you have any tips and ideas from a barbershop to use while at the networking event they have? Okay, so as I said before, Chamber of Commerce, you join the Chamber of Commerce, check into a BNI, and with that, you can get a little bit of that experience of being around potential people that can help you with your business. Okay, you have a barber shop, so you want to talk to people about that. So you asked, what's a good approach to out there meeting people and so forth. And my thought would be is to just be real, be yourself, be you, and not to be too aggressive. But like in these settings, people were usually there to meet other people, so people were open to it already. So you don't have to have that hesitancy that, well, if I talk to somebody, they're just going to feel like I'm intruding in their space. But what I would do is, you're in a setting, you're standing in line to get a drink, or you're standing around talking to people, or people may be there that you may know, which would be a good opportunity. Go talk to somebody you know there, and then a lot of times it's meeting people that they know. So they may introduce you to other people if they've been in this group for a little while. You may know them through somewhere else in the community or through some other friends, and so talk to them and see if they can get you to help you out. Just being and talking to them, other people may come up and you get introduced that way. And so I would approach it like this is how I approach all things actually when I'm out in the world, is that I'm just like, hi, my name's Greg. What's your name? And it could be like you're in that setting. If, like I said, you're standing in line, you could be like, "Hey, I like your shirt," and then you talk about that. Hey, where'd you get it? And then it could be like, "Hey, well, I'm Ricardo. What's your name?" And then it's like you're in that business environment. So saying, "Hey, what's your business?" is just a natural lead into talking about what they do, what you do, and getting to know people that way. And relative to this, I would, to really kind of build a level of trust and confidence, this is an area that I'm involved with right now, getting ready to launch a product out there in the world that I've talked about, and it's called high value listening. So Eric Maddox, the guy who caught Saddam Hussein, ended up going through a series of interrogations and using this high value listening, empathetic type of approach to build connection with people. And he's got a program and a step-by-step basis of how to do that. But with that, he basically says that some general areas of it is that you got to get on somebody else's stage. Everybody's fighting for stage time. I want to talk about myself. You want to talk about you. And with that, we're boomeranging people where we ask them a question about something, and not that we really want to know, but we're like, hey, I see you got a Tennessee Vols hat on. Hey, yeah, I went to UT, and I had a great time there. Loved the football games and so on and so forth. And there I'm back talking about myself. So you ask somebody, hey, I see you got a Vols shirt on or a Vols hat on, and you may say something like, so would you go to university? And when they say something, you don't pull it right back to yourself. You end up saying, really? Like they'll put out different words that are words that Merritt calls breadcrumbs that you want to go deeper with. So look for those words that they're talking about. Yeah, I went to university. I had a tough time at school. And you'd be like, tough? What was tough about school? And they talk about something, and then you keep getting to know them by asking them more in-depth questions about the world and the clues that they're giving you to talk about them. It's very interesting. This program's it has huge opportunities out there for building relationships. But the point is just to use those simple steps of getting to know that person, asking them questions, getting to know them, and then when it comes time, they'll feel like, wow, this guy's really cool. He really wants to know about me. He's interested, and you build this higher level of connection and trust when you do that. Then they're going to want to help you. Hey, so Ricardo, what's your business? You got a barbershop. Cool. Where's it at? What do you do? What kind of styles do you cut? Is it basic men? Do you do women too? Do you just all that kind of stuff? Okay, so just be very real with who you are. You're not trying to be somebody else. You're just be yourself. Ask questions and get to know people, and then tell them about what you do. So yes, and like I said, finding it's really good connections. I've met a lot of people through other people. So I have somebody that I know in my relationships, in my significant other relationships I've had in my life. The women I've met are a lot of times were through other people. I'm hanging out at a popular restaurant or a popular drinking spot, and it's like I'm talking with different people, and then somebody comes up and here's this attractive woman here, and she knows that person, they introduce us, we start talking, and then one thing led to another. So having that person there, somebody you know, could be very useful. If you don't know anybody there, just be friendly. Don't be too aggressive, and put yourself out there to say, hey, what do you do? What's your world? Engage them in their world, and then they're going to want to know about your world. Okay? Hope that helps, Ricardo. Next question by AJ Kultz, and AJ says, when to start a second business. Very straight, matter of fact. Business description and background question. I currently own a small digital marketing agency and do this full time. I'm considering starting another business that I can build over time, that once it is built, I don't have to operate it. It runs itself through other contractors. I am wondering how this would distract me and hurt my growing agency. What are things I should take into consideration? So, AJ, from my experience, it is you're putting yourself in a tough situation. I've distracted myself with other companies, other things, and so forth. And with that, it takes away from your focus and the maximum effort you can have to put in your company and really grow that company. So, anytime you do that, it's not a good thing to do. I had a business. I had my software company, and I was doing that. I was exposed to a franchise called 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You may have seen the trucks around in your local community. They go in and pick up stuff at people's houses that they don't want. They go into the house, they get it, they take it out. I met the owners of the company through my EO network, Entrepreneurs Organization, a long time back. And then they only wanted people that, owners, operators, that invest in the business, so forth. I thought it would be a good investment to get somebody else to run. And a few years later, they said, hey, Greg, we got a lot of EO members that are investing in franchises and getting other people to run them. So I ended up doing that in my local area, and it was a big mistake. One, it was distracting. Two, it was challenging from the business environment that we were doing. I had to spend more time on it in some areas. In other areas, I didn't. I tried to let my person that I put in charge of it to run it, and he didn't do a good job. And with that, it ended up costing me like $80,000 to close down the business, sell off the trucks, pay off the debt that accumulated because it wasn't making enough money to cover itself. And I kept asking my guy, what, like, are we paying our bills? And he would say yes. Well, he paying our bills was paying the minimum on the credit card and continuing to accumulate a lot of debt. So I would be careful about being distracted. You made something very key word in here, okay? Wondering how it could distract me and hurt me from my growing agency. Well, if your agency is growing, then that means it's going to need you. It's going to need your efforts. It's going to need your direction. It's going to need your leadership. And those all could be affected by you starting another company. So now I would say that people do this, and they do this in this space. Entrepreneurs, they're all about starting and getting things going and excitement about new opportunities. So I would say that if you could set it up and invest into it to start it, to get it going, knowing that you have somebody to run it and maybe have ownership, they may have ownership in it too, so they're fully vested, and it's not going to distract you from your time, then that is an option that you can consider. Otherwise, I would not fully engage in this in a space that is going to distract me from my growing business. Now, if your business was stagnant, it didn't allow for much time. It didn't take much of your time. It kind of was running on its own. It's spinning off some cash for you. In that situation, I would consider other options. Okay, my investment business was declining, and the assets were going out from the major drops in early 2000s. If you may remember 9/11 and Enron WorldCom scandal, and there was a mutual fund scandal, and more, all these things coming out, and the market went down to rock bottom after 3 years of drops. And with that, it was challenging. I couldn't grow that business. The track record changed, a lot of things changed, and I had to go and do. I had to figure out a different future. And while I was in contemplation of how I fix this business or how I either buy somebody else to get some economies of scale or I sell it, I started the software company. So I ended up selling off the funds around 2006 when I started the software company in 2004. So there are circumstances that you could consider doing this, but given what you say here, and maybe I need more information from you, I would be very careful about that. So if you'd like to talk to me more about it, I'd be happy to have a discussion with you. So email me, greg@efficience.us. That's EFFICIENCE.us. I've put it out there many times for you guys to email me, and nobody's emailed me before. So I'll be excited for the first person that emails me to follow up on any comments I have on their questions they submit. Okay, so next question. Lillian Bratton. Lillian asks, should I take out another loan to fund the new location setup / equipment? Business description and background of question. I'm opening a new location to move from my current pet grooming salon. Our current location has building maintenance issues and can no longer suit our client volume. The new location's monthly lease rate is triple what I am paying now. It has been very difficult finding a location that even allows pet grooming. Okay, so I would say there's a lot of dependence on here, dependence on other things that we need to talk about, or you need to ask yourself these questions. One, can your business handle the triple net lease increase? Or to triple, I'm sorry, I use triple, and in my mind, in real estate world that I've played in, there's triple net leases out there, which is a way to say that you're covering all the costs. So, but you said your lease was going to triple in amount, and given that tripling, how much, what percentage of that, how is that going to affect your profits? There's a lot of factors in there that's important to consider. How much more volume will you do in the newer place than you've been doing? Will that help you to cover, not only cover, but make a lot more money with the capacity to do more? So, the key is, will you still be profitable? You have to, this is important, that you got these expenses. You say, well, I just need a better place and I'm going to a new room and it's going to cost more money. Well, we have to, because we don't have a place. There's not many places in town that will allow a pet grooming type of business to be there. So what are our options? Okay, well, here's one place, but it's triple. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to go there. Well, not necessarily, if that triple net lease is going to put you out of business. When that triple increase in your lease amount is going to cause you to have diminishing profits, to losses potentially over time, if you don't grow the business to a certain level that will sustain it. So it sounds like your business is growing. You have more demand than you have space right now, from what I'm reading here and insinuating into your comments. So those factors need to be taken into consideration. If you do, X number of pet groomings, you're going to make this much money with the extra capacity you have. You got to factor in more people or more supplies, more whatever. You factor all that in. Then you determine, is the cost of this lease going to be beneficial for us to be there or not? Do we need to look to another place? Can we stay a little bit longer in our place while we wait to find something else? So, and actually it gave me a thought. I think I remember a question about somebody doing pet grooming, but they were doing it through like vans and stuff. So I'm wondering, have you thought about, instead of having a place, buying or leasing some vans? And with that, I'm getting some beep here, making sure this thing is working still. Okay, so so vans. What if you had 2 or 3 vans to do your grooming, and you were able to take these vans and put them in locations that people could come to you and say, like, you have an agreement with a shopping center. Hey, I'm going to be parked in your shopping center on every Friday over the course of the month? How much would you charge me for me to be there and allow me to be there? Make it legit, make it straight up with them, give them some money, and then people could come to you and meet you at that shopping center. It could be like a central for some of your clients, and then you could be over at another part of town where a lot of your clients come from, and you could pull them in, or you could go to their places. Okay, and I see that time travel to places can reduce down profitability, but that also could depend on the prices you charge, and people have the convenience of you going to them. Maybe you have one van that's going to people and you're charging a higher cost for that. It's a higher revenue source for you. And or there's another place that you go, or you have the places where you go to locations and you can park and people can bring their dogs to you. You can do them there, and then maybe they can shop and do whatever while their dog's getting groomed. If it's one of those locations that is in a shopping center or in a place that's public, they can go get something to eat, go get a coffee at a Starbucks or something like that. So that's just a thought out there of doing a little brainstorming of what are options for you, given the amount of leases or the cost of rent right now and the increasing lease rates that are happening. So I may consider something like that and trying to put off until this economy changes. At some point, the huge demand is going to pull back a little bit. We're going to have a recessionary aspect, and with that, the attractiveness of properties opening up and being more affordable will be there. Okay? So again, if you want to talk about that a little bit more, please email me and we can have a discussion and kind of put this back and forth with more details about your situation. Would help me with thinking about some ideas and exactly how the numbers would work out relative to your situation. Okay, next question. Alex Wilkins. Alex asks, do you think me paying myself less than everyone else on my team is smart? Business description and background question. I have a hardscape and a landscape business. I am starting to grow. I am making everything 100% legit. I don't need a ton of money out of the business. I got pretty much everything I need in life and to live life. I was going to pay myself $15 an hour and leave the rest in the business account so I can keep the ship sailing. Does that make sense, or should I pay myself more? I reverse engineered it. If I pay myself $15 an hour, I should be able to save $1,000 a month in my personal bank account. The business account can grow rapidly. Thank you for all your time. Okay, Alex. So, I have done this before, and it was a mistake on my part. At times, I made sure everybody else in the business was getting paid when we didn't have the money, and I had the ability to not have to take an income like you're talking about, like from the sale of my investment company or something like that. And I realized that this was a huge mistake. One is, if I don't have enough money to pay employees, then why is that business running? That business is running because I started it, I took the risk, I invested into it, and if I'm not getting rewarded from that business, then something's wrong. Okay? So there's different factors here to be thinking about, but a key is that you want to be able to make that money. Now, leaving some in the business is fine. Okay, this is what your profits would be, and you leave your profits in the business, but you should be getting an income that's relative to what somebody in your space should be making from that business. Okay, and if you take that money and you pay yourself and you put it and you happen to leave it into your personal savings account so that you can have money and fall back on if the business happens to slow down. But I would look at how are you running the business? What are the other employees making? How many do you have? What is it that is happening here that you're only being paid a rate that's less or comparable to a lot of your employees? That shouldn't be the case. And if it is, then I would, from my experience and what I've seen, there was changes that I would have made. Okay, back when I had employees and they were like high paid people and they were doing half what they should be doing, they weren't putting the effort into it, and I'm not getting paid so that they could get paid, that's a huge mistake. Okay, I made it, I realized it, I got and I made changes, and when I did, my life was so much better. So think about that, think about where you are with that, and so on. Let's see, what else did I have here? Yeah, so you said on here, you said that you were saving 1,000 a month in your personal bank account because I guess you're paying yourself $15 an hour, and after some moderate expenses, you're still saving money. What are you saving in the business? How much is there? How much do you need to grow? Okay, a growing business needs cash. That is vital and that is true. So making sure that you have maybe a line of credit with a bank so that as you grow and you need to have access to some cash, that you have that availability, or if you have a home equity loan that you can use to get cash if you need it for the business, that's an option. But you got to be careful with that because you don't want your business to take away your house. So where I mean by what I'm saying there is by putting a lot of money into your out of your house, you're pulling money out of your house and you can't pay it back for some dip in the business or whatever. So anyway, you said the business account can grow rapidly. Well, how much is it growing? How much is there? Think about those numbers. Think about what you're paying. Think about what other people in your industry are making. What is a successful landscaping, hardscaping business doing, and how much are those people making? You can do some research on online to figure out some of those numbers too, but you should be working to make that money. If you don't have enough business now or you have too many expenses, then you should be maximizing and managing the situation so that you are getting to that point very rapidly. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in business. You should go out and do some work and get paid at a rate that is comparable for your knowledge, your experience, and your effort that you're putting into something. Okay? Those are my thoughts. Good luck with that. And all the best, Alex, trying to make something, make some changes there. Okay. Next question is Sherry Morris. Sherry asked the question, in selecting a location for your business, what are some key considerations? Business description and background question. My fitness business will require suspension from the structure which already limits my options. Most landlords won't approve of this. I have 2 locations available currently. Location 1 offers great visibility, first gen, so more build out required. I guess so. It's first. I think what you're saying here. It's first. It's just being created and it doesn't have a build out. So more build out will be required, but it's a blank slate, which is a clearly dependable structure and generous TI allowances. It's in a newer area that's trending in our area now. However, it's a much smaller space with a considerably higher rental rate. Location 2 is in an older building with a quaint feel and is much larger space at a lower rental rate. So I have room to offer more services, adding to the bottom line. However, it's unclear if the structure can support the dynamic load required for my business without reinforcing the trusses until I do some demo and pay to have an as-built CAD drawing done. It also is an older area with smaller businesses. Okay, so Sherry, I have a lot of questions for you, so I'm going to ask you some questions that will give you the opportunity to think about them. Okay, one is this a new business? Okay, you said my fitness business will require this. Is this new? Are you starting this out, or do you already have a place and are you making money and you have clients? Okay, that's kind of key here for what you're thinking about, because one, expanding into other places and or you just setting up shop is a lot of factors got to go in and do the calculations to make sure that you have the money to pay the rent, pay yourself, as we just talked about, and pay the other people and the contractors that you will need to have to do services for you, from accounting to a marketing or whatever it may be. So that's key. I mean, if you're in a less risky situation, if you're bringing existing clients over to one of these locations. So I would like to know that, and from you knowing it, how are you looking at it? Are you calculating these numbers? If you don't have any, where you think your business is going, number of people you can get in there, what are you going to charge them, and what kind of revenue are you going to be generating with that? And then if you not, and what level do you need to be at? How long does it take? What you think it'll take to get you to that level? Because that means you're going to need cash reserves if you are just starting this business and you need to get it to a certain level to cover its cost. So how much smaller is the trendy space? Okay, and how much more is the rent to that space? That numbers need to be looked at, and the actual numbers need to be looked at so that you can have a determination from what I just said about number of clients you're going to have, how much income you're going to have, and so forth. I like the idea of the trendy space, but I don't know how much more rent it is, and I don't even know if the economics are going to work for that. But a smaller space looks like you're busier. It has a lot of aspects that in this environment, the newness of the place, the whatever, it gives you more modern. It makes people feel good about where they're going to work out and so forth. Okay. Let's see. So with that size, you got to determine those numbers to be profitable. So how much less money is the industrial spot? Okay. Well, really, just with those numbers that I'm talking about, you guys got to factor both sides. So you can ask general questions, but specifically, you got to go into figuring out these calculations. And if you don't have an existing clientele, a lot of it's going to be assumptions. How popular is the method of the gym that you're wanting to put up? Is this completely new and you don't know how people will gravitate to it yet? Or is it something that's happening in other cities, and when it opens up in other cities, people are just all over it. They're on top of it. They want part of it. They want to be working out here, and so on and so forth. So those are key thoughts that I would have if I was opening up this type of space and considering where I was going to go. A lot of stuff like that. So let's see if I have anything else here. Okay, so I would also factor in like how much more money can you make with the bigger size, the industrial space, and that cost of the initial investment you had to do. You said you're going to have to do CAD work to get drawings done to see if it has the ability to do it. How much of investment is that going to be relative to the money you're saving from the lower lease rate, and how much more money are you going to make by having that larger size? Okay, so it's hard for me to help you here because I need a lot more answers to this. But if you want to email me some of those questions or some of those answers to the questions I'm asking, then we can maybe zero in a little bit more to help you make the right decision here, because this could be significant for you. It could be a matter of being in business or not being in business based on which choice you make here and the newness of your business relative to the marketplace. So all the best with it, Sherry. Excited on it. I'm really curious about what the business is. I know about some of these that have the bands hanging from the ceiling where you're doing like yoga relative exercises, and in some cases you're using these bands to like pull up things and to do different exercises that are more flowing and are very healthy for people. So good luck with it, and please reach out if you think that you want to dig into this a little bit more. If you have those answers and those numbers come back, and you calculate those numbers and they look very attractive to you, then that is a matter of choice then, right? And I said, like, I like the trendy place. I work out in a place called the Zoo, and it is a big warehousey type. It's an old shopping center really, and it's got, you can see the beams and stuff up in the ceiling. But this place is very old school, old world. It has all these eclectic different types of equipment. They've got the hanging stuff, from the punching bags. They got a boxing ring in there. They just got basically everything. It's big. It's fun. The trainers there are great, so I love going there, even though it's more old world. So the old world thing doesn't have to, is not a negative. It's just the environment that you're trying to be in. If you're bringing a more modern workout to people, then the newer, trendy, and like where's you're going to get your best clientele. So you said it indirectly in that. I mean, you're kind of like subconsciously maybe putting it out there. The industrial space is in an area that I'm not going to attract the type of client that I want. And maybe that's what I was hearing from reading between the lines. Or is it that the trendiest place is in an area where I'm going to get the type of client that's going to pay me the higher dollars and be more comfortable paying that. So that's where my customer is, and that's where I should be. Okay? And again, if this is new, starting out with a small space and getting your business up and going, getting your name going, building that reputation, and then moving and bringing all those clients is a much safer startup entrepreneurial decision than it is just saying, I'm going to have this big place and I'm going to have all these customers. If you don't know you're going to have all the customers, then I would be in a place that is where my customers are, most importantly, where they have visibility to me, where I can market to them very easily, and where word of mouth can grow based on my location. Easy for them to get to. I picked my gym. I had two gyms. I had a LA Fitness somewhat near me, and I had the zoo that was a little bit closer to me. But when I went into the zoo, I liked it so much that I went there, but I would have gone to the other place that was a little further if I thought that was a better workout for me. But it was just a little bit further. But now if it's a few more miles away, given the traffic here in South Florida, I would have picked one that I was not as favorable, because I'm not going to take the time to drive 20 or 30 minutes to get to a location to work out. Okay, I need it to be close. So thinking about those, how people's minds about what they do when they work out, how much time they have, when they can get to it, is it near work? Those are a lot of factors in helping you with success of your business. So all the best, Sherry. And that's all the questions I have for today and this month. So good luck to all of you growing and putting effort into your business and making it rewarding and so forth. I look forward to talking to you next time. So, or next month, actually. So, AO, knock it out. Take care.